Have you ever stopped to think about the nature of your friendships? Are they built on fun, convenience, or something deeper? Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers in history, believed that not all friendships are the same, and understanding their differences can help us navigate our connections more thoughtfully, especially after 40. In his influential work, Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle outlines 3 distinct types of friendship. Let's explore them and see which ones resonate with you. The first type is the friendship of pleasure. Think about the people you hang out with simply because it's fun. Maybe they share your love for hiking, movies, or weekend get-togethers. These friendships are often lively and spontaneous, but they can also be fleeting. Ask yourself, how many of these connections have naturally faded over time? After 40, as life becomes busier and priorities shift, it's common for friendships of pleasure to wane. Next, we have friendships of utility. These are the practical connections, colleagues, business partners, or neighbors with whom you exchange favors. They're not necessarily deep, but can be mutually beneficial. Think about it. Have you ever had a friend you kept around mostly because they were useful? As we age, such friendships may either evolve into something more genuine or quietly dissolve once the utility fades. And finally, Aristotle describes the most profound and enduring type friendship of virtue. These are the rare connections based on mutual respect, shared values, and genuine goodwill. Unlike the other two, these friendships aren't dependent on fun or practicality. They're about appreciating each other's character and being truly invested in one another's well-being. So, how many of your friendships fit this category? Are you surrounded by people who know and accept the real you? As we step into our 40s, these are the bonds that can provide true emotional depth and a sense of belonging. Aristotle believed that friendships of virtue are the hardest to find, but the most fulfilling to keep. Do you agree? Take a moment to reflect. Which type of friendship do you value most at this stage of life? Think back to your 20s. How many friends did you have back then? And how many of them are still part of your life today? It's a common experience as we get older, the circle of friends often shrinks. But why does this happen? Let's take a closer look. First, let's talk about time and priorities. In our 40s, life tends to get busier and more demanding. Careers become more intense, family responsibilities increase, and personal time becomes a luxury. When was the last time you canceled plans with a friend because work or family came first? It's not intentional, but gradually those casual meetups and spontaneous hangouts start to disappear. Another major factor is geographical distance. Think about it. How many of your old friends have moved away for jobs, relationships, or a fresh start? Relocating can put physical distance between friends, making regular meetups nearly impossible. Sure, we have social media and messaging apps, but let's be honest, does sending a quick text really compare to sitting face-to-face over a coffee? Then there's the issue of changing interests and lifestyles, the hobbies, passions, and activities that brought us together in our younger years might not hold the same appeal now. Maybe your old college friend is still in late-night partying while you prefer quiet dinners or weekend hikes. When life paths diverge, so do friendships. But it's not just about distance or lifestyle changes. Sometimes friendships fade because we outgrow each other emotionally. Have you ever caught up with an old friend and felt like you were talking to a stranger? It's as if the bond that once held you together no longer fits. And that's okay. People evolve, and so do their emotional needs. Holding on to a friendship out of nostalgia can feel forced, and at times, even draining. Let's not forget the role of resentment and unresolved conflicts. Think of a friendship that ended badly. Did you ever have that one falling out that was never properly addressed? Small misunderstandings can fester over time, turning into silent resentments that push people apart. In our 40s, we might be less willing to confront these issues, choosing instead to let the connection quietly slip away. Now, consider the impact of social media. At first glance, it seems like a great way to keep in touch. But does scrolling through someone's vacation photos really count as maintaining a friendship? In reality, social media can create a false sense of connection, making us feel like we're still part of each other's lives when, in fact, we haven't spoken in years. So, what can we do about it? Are these lost connections gone for good, or is there a way to rekindle them? Before we move on, take a moment to think. Are there friends you genuinely miss? Are there conversations you wish you could revisit? Sometimes, all it takes is one message, one call, one invitation to bridge the gap. Be honest. When was the last time you made a new friend? Not just a casual acquaintance or a work contact, but someone you genuinely connected with? For many people after 40, the idea of forming new friendships can feel daunting. But is it really that difficult, or are we just overthinking it? First, let's address the elephant in the room: fear of rejection. Remember how easy it was to make friends as a child? You could walk up to another kid and say, "Want to play?" And that was it, instant friend. But as adults, we tend to overanalyze. What if they're not interested? What if I come off as desperate? What if it's awkward? These doubts can hold us back from reaching out. But consider this. How often have you felt flattered when someone showed genuine interest in getting to know you? Chances are others would feel the same. Another key to building friendships after 40 is to embrace common interests. Think about the activities you enjoy, whether it's hiking, book clubs, cooking classes, or volunteering. Joining a group centered around these interests can naturally bring you closer to like-minded people. And the best part, you already have something to talk about. But what if you're not the group type? That's okay. Sometimes the best connections come from one-on-one interactions. Is there someone you've always enjoyed chatting with but never took the initiative to invite for coffee? It could be a neighbor, a colleague, or even the friend of a friend. Taking that small step to suggest a casual meetup can open the door to a deeper connection. Let's not underestimate the power of reconnecting with old friends either. Remember that classmate you lost touch with, or the former coworker you used to have great conversations with? A simple message like, "Hey, I was just thinking about you. How have you been?" can reignite a connection that might still have potential. Sometimes the best new friends are the old ones we haven't spoken to in years. And what about social media? Yes, it can be a shallow way to keep in touch, but it can also be a valuable tool for finding new connections. Join local groups, participate in community discussions, or even comment on posts in a meaningful way. The goal isn't to collect likes, but to initiate real conversations. Now, let's talk about being open and approachable. How do you feel when someone genuinely listens to you, asks thoughtful questions, and shows interest in your life? It feels good, right? The same principle applies when you're trying to make friends. Show genuine curiosity, ask about their interests, and share a bit about yourself without oversharing. Authenticity is magnetic. But what if you try and it doesn't work out? What if the conversation falls flat or the other person doesn't seem interested? That's okay. Not every interaction will lead to a lifelong friendship. Think of it as practice. Each time you put yourself out there, you're building confidence and refining your approach. Before we move on, take a moment to reflect. Is there someone in your life right now you'd like to get to know better? A colleague who seems interesting, a fellow parent at your kid's school? Why not take the first step? A simple coffee invitation could be the start of something meaningful. Think about the friends you've known the longest. Are they still as close as they once were? Or have some of those connections grown distant, strained, or even awkward? After 40, it's natural to reevaluate old friendships, but how do we decide which ones to keep, revive, or let go? Let's start with a simple question. Are you holding on to some friendships out of habit or genuine connection? Sometimes we maintain ties with people because we've known them forever. The childhood friend, the old college buddy, the former coworker. But what happens when conversations start feeling forced or repetitive? You meet up, talk about the same old stories, and leave feeling emotionally drained rather than fulfilled. If you've ever felt that way, you're not alone. As we grow and change, not every friendship evolves with us, and that's okay. But how do you know if it's time to let go or try to rekindle the bond? First, consider the emotional impact of the friendship. Ask yourself, does spending time with this person make me feel seen, valued, and understood? Or do I feel judged, overlooked, or exhausted? True friendships are reciprocal. Both people give and receive support, encouragement, and respect. If the dynamic feels one-sided or emotionally draining, it may be time to step back or set new boundaries. But what if you genuinely want to revive a fading friendship? Maybe life got in the way, careers, kids, relocations, and the connection slipped through the cracks. In such cases, honesty is key. Reach out with sincerity. Try saying, "I know we haven't talked much lately, but I'd love to catch up and hear how you're doing." Sometimes a simple, heartfelt message can be the spark that reignites a bond. Another approach is to reframe the friendship. Maybe you and your old friend no longer share the same interests, but is there still common ground? Instead of expecting things to go back to how they were, explore new ways to connect. Perhaps you could invite them to a new activity, a cooking class, a book club, or a local event rather than the usual coffee catch-up. Changing the context can breathe new life into old connections. However, it's also essential to accept that some friendships have run their course. This doesn't mean there's animosity or that the friendship wasn't valuable. People grow in different directions, and sometimes the most compassionate choice is to let go with gratitude rather than hold on with resentment. Think of it as closing a chapter, not erasing the book. But what about those unresolved conflicts? Is there a friendship in your life that ended on a sour note, leaving behind lingering resentment or unfinished business? If so, consider whether it's worth reaching out for closure. Sometimes a single honest conversation can provide clarity, release tension, and even pave the way for a fresh start. Before we wrap up this section, take a moment to reflect. Are there friendships in your life that feel like a burden rather than a blessing? Is there someone you miss but feel unsure about reconnecting with? Think about what you need: closure, reconnection, or simply the courage to move on. Each choice can be a step toward a more authentic and fulfilling social circle. Take a moment to think about the friendships that have shaped you over the years, the ones that made you laugh, challenged your thinking, or provided a shoulder to lean on. Now, ask yourself, are those connections still present in your life? And if not, what do you truly seek in the friendships you cultivate after 40? Aristotle believed that friendships of virtue are the most fulfilling, the kind rooted in mutual respect and shared values. But these bonds don't just happen. They require intention, effort, and openness. After 40, friendships can become more than just social interactions. They can be profound sources of personal growth. How? By surrounding ourselves with people who inspire us, who push us to think deeper, and who remind us of who we are at our core. It's not about quantity, but quality. One genuine friend who truly understands you can be more impactful than a dozen casual acquaintances. Yet, pursuing deeper connections often means letting go of superficial ties. It means choosing authenticity over obligation, seeking out those who align with your current values, and accepting that not every friendship is meant to last a lifetime. There is beauty in the ebb and flow of human connections, in the way some people come into our lives for a season, while others stay for decades. But what if you find yourself standing in the middle of your life, looking around and realizing that your social circle has thinned? What then? It's easy to feel that making new friends after 40 is nearly impossible. But the truth is, the potential for connection is everywhere, in the hobbies we pursue, the places we frequent, and the casual conversations we initiate. Sometimes, the greatest connections are formed not through grand gestures, but through simple, everyday moments. A shared laugh at a coffee shop, a genuine compliment at a community event, or a spontaneous conversation with a neighbor. Every interaction holds the possibility of a deeper bond if we are willing to be present and open. And what about those friendships we've lost along the way? Are they truly lost or just waiting for a second chance? Sometimes reaching out with a simple "I was thinking about you today" can bridge a gap years in the making. Reconnecting doesn't always mean rekindling. Sometimes it's just about offering closure, expressing gratitude, or acknowledging the impact someone had on your life. As we age, friendships can become mirrors, reflecting back to us who we are and who we aspire to be. They remind us of our strengths, challenge us to confront our flaws, and offer a safe space to grow. But they also teach us to embrace impermanence, to accept that some connections will naturally fade while others will deepen in unexpected ways. So, as you stand at this stage of life, ask yourself, which friendships still nourish your soul? Which ones feel heavy, forced, or outdated? And what kind of connections do you want to foster moving forward? Because ultimately, friendship after 40 isn't just about filling time or maintaining social appearances. It's about choosing the people who truly see you, who value your growth, and who walk beside you as you navigate the complexities of life. Perhaps the most profound friendship we can cultivate is the one we have with ourselves. Because the more grounded we are in our own truth, the more authentic our connections with others will be. And that is a bond worth nurturing at any age.